Today I'll be examining the Bible with the help of Sonic 3. We'll look into the value of Christian relationships from a biblical perspective. We'll see how Sonic acts in ways that are reflective of Christ, and as Christians, we'll see how this movie's final plot can be a huge encouragement for whatever troubles you are facing. This is a quick spoiler warning for Sonic 3, so let's jump into it with a quick rundown of the plot. Sonic, Knuckles, and Tails are a small group of friends with super special abilities. Sonic can run fast, Tails is super smart, and Knuckles can hit things pretty hard. They end up having a run-in with a mysterious hedgehog named Shadow, who we find out is working with the evil Ivo Robotnik to try and destroy the world. Sonic fights Shadow one-on-one and loses. Then he has his father figure become horribly injured from Shadow, and he fights him again, this time winning. But as he wins, Shadow tells him that he needs to finish him off, and Sonic realizes that the way he's been fighting right now, he's been doing so out of anger, and that's not who he is. So instead he offers Shadow a hand to help him up. The two talk, and Sonic realizes that Shadow is hurting. See some bad people killed Shadow's only friend, and now he thinks destroying the world and getting revenge is the best course of action. They talk a little bit more, and Sonic manages to convince him that this probably is not what Shadow's friend would have wanted. And Shadow then says, "I've been so blinded by rage, I thought I had no choice." To which Sonic replies, "You always have a choice, and making the right one is never easy. One more thing I learned is when you really screw something up, you can't fix it on your own." Followed by the two of them proceeding to save the day, along with some help from Knuckles and Tails. It's really an enjoyable story with a moral message that I think is great for kids to hear. You always have a choice. But let's take a step back from the movie's core message and shift to examining some more biblical messages that can be found. Sonic, Knuckles, and Tails throughout the film show that only when working together are they capable of really getting things done. And by the end of the film, Sonic tells Shadow that when you really screw something up, you can't fix it on your own. I have met so many Christians who will tell you that they don't go to church or don't like to hang out with other believers because they just don't share the same hobbies or interests. Trust me, I get it. I'm making a YouTube video about Sonic and Jesus. I totally get it. But the Bible tells us in Hebrews 10:25 to not neglect the gathering of believers, and instead we're to be encouraging one another. You see, there's a value to having other believers around, people who can help to encourage and exhort you, people who will help to lift you up. In Proverbs 27:17, it tells us that as iron sharpens iron, so one person sharpens another. We need to have other believers in our lives who can act as iron, sharpening us. Otherwise, we run the risk of becoming like Shadow, dulled by pain or anger, or allowing our hurt that we felt from other people to cloud our judgment. And sometimes the only way for us to realize that we're having clouded judgment or being overwhelmed by anger or frustration or sin is to have a fellow believer talk to us and remind us that we need to keep our focus on Christ. Sonic's actions initially are very self-centered. He has a desire for revenge to avenge the pain that Shadow caused his friend, but as the fight progressed and Sonic won, he realized that instead of taking revenge, he should be showing love, because Shadow was hurting as well. And Jesus tells us in Matthew 5:44, "But I say to you, love your enemies and pray for those who persecute you." We are told directly by the man that we have chosen to follow after that we need to love our enemies and pray for those who persecute us. That's no easy task. Like Sonic, it's easy to react out of frustration or anger, but we are called to show love, to pray for those who persecute us. Only then will we, like it says in Romans 12:21, be able to overcome evil with good. Sonic 3 is a really great example of redemption. We see Shadow find redemption and forgiveness while talking to Sonic, and we even see Eggman find redemption at the end, giving his life to save the Earth. You know, that quote from Sonic, "When you really screw something up, you can't fix it on your own," while it can be used to reference help from other Christians, it most certainly can also be used to reference getting help from Christ. We know that in Christ, we have redemption through his blood, the blood he shed on the cross, and the forgiveness of our trespasses, from Ephesians 1:7. So every single wrongdoing you or I have or will ever do falls under that forgiveness. And when it feels like we've done something so bad, so evil, so unforgivable that we can't possibly attain redemption or forgiveness, we know that there is redemption in Christ. Because we know that through Christ, we are a new creation. Even though that thing might be completely heinous, completely horrible, we know that there's still forgiveness for that. And we know that we don't have to live in that or linger on in it, because we can have our minds renewed day by day so that we can put off the old man and live in the new. See, there are things in life that we can't fix or handle on our own. And in those times when everything seems hopeless or we seem irredeemable, we need to be consistent in turning to Christ, knowing that our God is a God of hope and a God of peace. So wherever you are at, friends, whatever is going on in your lives, whatever situations you may be experiencing or feeling bogged down by, don't let your hearts be troubled. And may the God of all hope grant you his peace always. And by all means, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please check out one of my other videos. Bye con Dios, friends.